Hey, how you doing? This today is our very first vlog or video log. I'm gonna ramble on a bit. I'm gonna improvise, go pretty much unscripted, and try to connect about anxiety with you as much as I can. We'll see how it goes. If that sounds good to you, please stick around. I think you might enjoy it, I hope. If it doesn't, now's probably a good time to find a different video to watch. But I kind of hope you stick around. Thanks. Hello there. My name is Dee, and this is Easing Anxiety. If you like what we do, please subscribe and click on the notifications button so you can be alerted when new videos are available. Thanks for joining us. So welcome to our very first video log. I've never done one of these before, so we'll see how it goes. It's going to be rough, and I'm going to try to go as unedited and as unscripted as I can. I'm sure I'll cut some things out here and there, but I'm trying to make it more raw and more real of me, and connect directly to you on anxiety and things we deal with it every day. That's the purpose of this. So I'm hoping it'll come across. And I know I tried to be a little more raw in some of the recent videos, but this one I'm taking it a step further. And partly because then it frees me up to be a little more polished, if that's the right word. I don't know how polished they were, but a little more polished in some of the more previous ones. So what I'm going to try to do going forward, at least for a little while, until we see how these videos are received, is to do three types. We already have the meditation relaxation videos. You've seen those on the channel, and we'll do more of those going forward. We'll have the informational videos like our last one, the one on what is anxiety, and the ones on tips and tricks and talking about anxiety from all different sides with video clips and images and B-roll and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to try these two, which are more the vlog and the more personal contact. This is where we'll share your comments, we'll answer your questions. I might even go live here, and I'm hoping I'm going to build up to where some of these will start to be live conversations with you. I got to get that set up too. That'll come. But I really hope that these different types might appeal to different people. Maybe some of you like all three of them. Some of you may only like one style, and that's great. But without experimenting and without trying, I don't really know what works. That's why I love your feedback so much, because what you tell me helps a lot in what we do here. It helps a lot because that's exactly what I want to provide, is the videos you want to see. So, thanks for joining us, and thanks for checking this out, and please let me know what you think. So today we're going to talk about anxiety a little bit, and, maybe COVID-19 a bit. I have a few, really brief notes here, but this is mostly unscripted. It's just me talking with you and seeing where it goes. That's why I think going live with these down the line might be a good direction. Let me know what you think about that. I'm curious. So today we're going to talk about anxiety and COVID-19 and isolation a little bit, and just what we've been going through. I've been struggling lately with a lot of stuff, with what I'm doing here, where it's going, how to keep benzo free and easing anxiety moving forward. And trust me, I'm doing everything I can to keep them going, but it's a struggle. I mean, these are hard times for so many people. And my wife and I are no exception. We've faced some job difficulties lately and financial hurdles, just like so many people have. So it's made me second guess and question. But your feedback and the people I work with, both here and on the podcast, keep me going. And I want nothing more than to keep moving in this direction of helping people with anxiety and helping people with benzodependence and anti-anxiety drug issues and that kind of thing, because this is what I love doing. So I hope we can continue doing this going forward, and I'm going to do my best to keep that moving. But I just wanted to share with you that I struggle too. I'm struggling all the time with things. And I am so much better than I was, especially in my withdrawal, but I still struggle. And I've mentioned before on this how, as I'm shifting on my stool, I have this nice little stool here. But I mentioned before on this channel how I've seen the anxiety slowly increasing with other people who haven't had issues with anti-anxiety medication, or people who haven't had chronic anxiety issues all their life and don't have agoraphobia or other phobias, or are situations where they've gotten help and have struggled with for a long time. But the story I wanted to tell was about a friend of mine. We're just going to call her Susan. We'll call her Susan today. That's not her real name, but I'm going to call her Susan for now. And Susan is a friend of my wife and I's. My wife and mine. Susan is a friend of ours, and we're going to go forward with that. But Susan is a good friend of ours, and she is previously married and divorced a while back, in her 40s, single gal living here in Colorado, not too far from us, and a real good friend. And one of the things that really drew us to Susan was her positivity. Oh, she is like one of the most positive people. I'm not kidding. One of the most positive people you'd ever meet. Can turn any situation into happiness, and any difficulty into good things. And she is always complimentary. She's just a real good friend. But sometimes it's these people that can be the most surprising when you see them struggle. And a couple weeks maybe into the COVID-19 situation, where we had the stay-at-home orders here in Colorado, we had been FaceTiming with each other occasionally. My wife and I here at home would FaceTime with Susan, and we play, games via video, keeping our distance. But in one of those conversations, she shared with me that she's really struggling. It surprised me, because I just never heard her talk about that before, but she said she's really struggling with anxiety and fear, and she's really afraid of getting the virus. She was really afraid of her folks back in California and them getting it and losing them. And it was causing a lot of problems. So much so that after another week or so, she even moved in with another friend to have some companionship, to try to manage this fear. But it was severe for her. And again, I was surprised, because here's people that I think don't normally deal with anxiety who now are. And so I was concerned about her. So we check in on her periodically. And then a few weeks later, she called us up, my wife and I, and she talked to us and told us she's moving back to California and to live with her parents. And this was a total shock. She'd been on her own for years living in Colorado, and really enjoyed being an independent woman, living on her own, with different jobs. She had a good job here, a solid job. They love her there. She has her own apartment, which she loves, with a view of the mountains and everything. But I guess it got to be too much. And she decided to move home. I just did not see this coming. And it hit me, because as so many things have lately, I started to see all those people in our lives who we think are rocks. For those of us who suffer from chronic anxiety, I look at other people like my wife and other people in our lives who don't normally have those issues, who are the rocks, or the stable ones. And some of them are now breaking down and having problems. And many of them don't have the tools that we have developed to deal with this situation. Anyway, so come the 1st of May, she moved back to California and is now living with her parents. I'm sure it's a struggle, as any of us would face, being in our 40s, moving back home. But I hope it's really good for her. I know part of the reason was she was afraid that her parents might get the virus and she would lose out on that time with them. And so she wanted to make the most of it, and I totally understand that. But I also think a lot of it was just being alone and being afraid and being anxious and not having the experience that some of us do of dealing with those types of feelings. And it reminded me, and the reason I'm telling you this story is twofold. One, to pay attention to ourselves. I mean, I've been doing that too, because anxiety can be very sneaky. It can just raise slowly as the stress level increases, and a lot of times we don't even really notice it. So watch for that and notice if you feel some symptoms coming on. Symptoms like cognitive problems, memory loss, maybe tics or tremors or shakiness, akathisia, which is that inner jitteriness you might have like you've been on a lot of caffeine. Panic attacks. Some people are now having panic attacks that have never had them before. But any of those symptoms that are common with anxiety that can arise, and there's so many more. And if you don't know them, just look them up online. You'll find out. But pay attention to yourself and notice these. And if you do, then try to find some tools to help ease them a bit and manage them. But second is to also pay attention to other people, especially people who you don't expect to have problems right now. Because they may need help right now too, and you may now be the expert to help them. Those of us who've dealt with chronic anxiety or severe anxiety in our lives, we've been forced to develop tools and to find new perspectives and to rely on our faith or our family or science or whatever it is that helps get you through. But for those that haven't experienced that, this is new and it's frightening. It's like any time you get new emotions and you don't know where they came from, and they can be so overwhelming. So I think my point today, as I ramble on, is to perhaps just look out for yourself and look out for others. Because these are difficult times. And this anxiety can build and build until the point where we may start to self-medicate or drink a little too much or start taking up our smoking again or start taking it out on people we live with and we love. And it can happen in a very subtle fashion. So noticing that is important. I know a lot of people are now going to their doctors and looking for help. And some of those people are being medicated. And again, I am not somebody who's against all psychiatric medication. I think some of the psychiatric medications out there are great and really help people, but please be careful. It's easy to take certain drugs, especially benzos like I've been on, to wind up taking them short term, and then it turns into long term. And then it turns into a problem of dependence or addiction for other medications. Opioids are another factor for a lot of people. It doesn't matter where you get that relief. Just be careful and try to notice that as you're going down that slope, because it's a very difficult place to come back from. I know, I've been there. Sorry, don't mean to laugh and make light of it, but sometimes we just have to. Oh, but on a lighter note, there are so many options, as I shift again, because my butt goes numb. There are so many options out there to help us. And that's what this channel's for. And that's what all these books are for that I've researched and read, because I love that stuff. That's what videos are for. That's what, I don't care where you get the advice, but there are so many great techniques, tools, tips to help manage anxiety, both for you and for other people that you see struggling. So please, don't just jump to the quick fix of a pill or alcohol or cigarettes when you know that in the long run, that's not going to work out too well. Take the time, find some tools, some techniques that help you, and we'll try to provide more and more here as time goes on. But this is a long-term game. I guess what's the term I'm looking for? What is it, the long game? No, that's not really the term. Life is a long, God, see, this is where the unscripted part, if this was scripted, I would have written out, I would have maybe even pulled up a thesaurus online and found the right term that I'm looking for right now. But since I'm going unscripted here and mostly unedited, I can't do that. But what I'm trying to say, and maybe some of you will comment in and tell me the word I'm looking for or the phrase I'm looking for. But what I'm trying to say is that life is long. And if we keep seeking those short-term fixes and gains, sometimes that can screw us up in the long game. I guess it is a long game. Yeah, we're going to go with that. So anyway, I'm rambling on, and I know I'm going to try to keep this video a little shorter than some of the ones before, but this is my first vlog. I hope it connected. I hope it meant something. I know there wasn't a lot of instruction in here or information, but it was more just the connection. And to let you know that I'm struggling too. I've had some bad days lately. In fact, the reason why this video is coming out a little later is because I had trouble getting the motivation to do it. Because I've had that anxiety building up for me too. Things around here, things around the world, just stuff getting to me. So I get it. I understand. And that's why we're here. On the podcast, I promised 3 things. And that was to be, sorry for the noise upstairs. I think my wife's in the kitchen, but that's okay. But on the podcast, I promised 3 things, and I want to do the same thing here. And that is to be as honest as I can, as objective as I can, and as real as I can. And that's why I'm doing a vlog. This is me, warts and all, as I've said before. My mistakes, I'll share with you. My problems, I'll share with you. And my successes, I'll share with you. But this isn't about just me. I want to share your successes. I want to share your questions, your struggles, what you've been going through. And that's why I need your feedback so much. Please comment on this video or email directly. You can reach me at Foster Break. And see, I said break there. I may not break. See, when I record the podcast and I'm editing it later, I say break. And that basically tells me when I'm editing that cut that section out, I'm re-recording it, and I'll use a new one. But when I'm just winging it and I'm trying not to edit too much, I still say break out of habit. And I shouldn't, because I'm trying not to edit this. So let's not edit it. Let's move forward. And what the hell was I talking about? Anybody? Does anybody remember what I was talking about? Oh, okay. I'm going to straighten this brain out again. Oh, I was talking about being objective, honest, and real. I think that was it. Anyway, this is me screwing up. This is me shooting a video. This is me saying hi. This is me dealing with my anxiety. And I've always had it. I will always have it. Has it gotten better? Yes. It was really bad in benzo withdrawal, extreme. Definitely better than it was during that time. But also, I think maybe even better than before I started taking medication for it. Because I've done the work. And there's a lot of help out there if you just look for it. You're not alone in this. You are so not alone. As I mentioned in the last video, anxiety is the #1 mental health problem in the world. A lot of us are going through this. We just don't talk about it that much. But maybe we should. Thanks for tuning in. I'm so glad you're watching this video. Please leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. And I hope you come back and check these out. And I hope you like the vlog. And maybe you don't. Either way, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Keep calm. No, that's the other saying. That's the one from the podcast. See, fall into my old habits. Again, I'm not editing, so I'm going to be raw here. This may be driving you crazy, and I don't blame you. But let me just pull one off the top of my head. And that is, be at peace. I hope you find peace in your life. And that's really, I think, what we're aiming for here. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.